You're listening to the Man That Can project with Stuart, a global movement created to empower men and open up what's really going through their minds by having real and raw conversations about life's unique challenges and our individual ways of processing it all. Welcome to the Man That Can project.
Welcome back, guys. So before we jump into today's episode, I just want to thank you all so much for continuing to share the podcast, and for those who are active members of the Man That Can Project's Facebook community, thank you for all your contribution and just being a part of helping us create an incredible ripple effect to the communities, and for men like yourself who are wanting to take ownership of their life, build resilience, and confidently be your authentic self. So thank you for showing up and being a part of the journey with me. As for now, let's dive into the episode. You can see, gents, the topic for today is, well, it's not even a topic, right? Well, it is. It's a topic, but I'm also going to share a story that I've never really shared in detail too much, and I wanted to share this with you guys, and also give you some perspective and also understandings that I've taken away from my own experience of, one, hurting someone that I love, and from two, being hurt by someone that I loved, right? And my intention for sharing this with you guys is because, you know, whether you've been through this or you may be currently going through this or you're yet to go through it, having more perspectives of, you know, ways of thinking about it and trying to seek to understand what you may have been experiencing or what the person that you loved may have been experiencing can help with healing, right? Essentially, for me, it's helped massively, because while I don't use this to go, oh yeah, that's justified my actions, it's just helped me understand where I'm at, and I now use that as a way to, I guess, share my experiences and hopefully educate other men out there so they don't do similar things that I've done, and, you know, potentially don't get themselves in similar situations where you may be hurt like I was, and, you know, like a lot of you guys may or may not have been as well. So just remember as well, if you do have any questions, drop all your questions in the chat. Okay, so make sure you definitely do that. So I want to start. So now I'll talk about I've heard someone that I loved multiple times, right? I've had two previous partners. You know, one was a 6-year relationship and one was just under 12 months, but they were both significant, right? And I'm currently in a really long-term one now as well. And I made similar mistakes along that journey due to my own stupidity, right? Due to my own insecurities. And I'll take you back to when I was 14. You know, I was with the same girl sort of on and off from the ages of 14 up until 21, right? And this girl, even before 14, was someone that I really wanted to be with, you know. And looking back, she was a popular girl, and I was like, you know, I think everyone wanted to be with a popular girl. But over that time, you know, we had an amazing relationship, or what I thought was an amazing relationship. And, you know, during that period of time, it was when I was striving to be a successful athlete. I wanted to be the popular guy. I didn't want to be bullied anymore. And I thought, you know, this could be the girl that I'll be with forever, right? I was young, naive. I was 14, 15, 16, 17, all the way up. And, you know, throughout that relationship, you know, you eventually get to that point where you're like, I think I love this person. And for me, because my family life, like, I have a great family, but I'm not necessarily someone who's extremely close in terms of, like, always needs to be around my family. I ended up spending a lot of time around her family. So it's almost like her family became my family. And over the years, in grade 11, grade 12, I would spend a lot of time, all weekends with her and her family. And it really became like my second home. And I loved having the comforter of their family. I loved having that partner. But, behind the scenes, I was still being a manipulative, lying bastard, right? Throughout so much of that relationship, I was cheating. I was lying. I felt really fucking insecure. I didn't feel good enough. So while there are a lot of amazing points in that relationship, there was also, a lot of that relationship, I was facing my own mental challenges, right? It's not a fun place when you're constantly anxious about not being good enough. It's not a fun time when you don't feel worthy enough of being with this partner. It's not a fun time when you don't feel like they love you, right? And all of that was because of the rules that I'd set, my own insecurities, and what I chose to focus on. And as a result of that, it led me to do some stupid things, right? It led me to, like I said, cheat, lie, all that sort of shit. And when did I first get caught? I think it was grade 12. I got caught cheating, and it all came out at the formal. And at that point in time, I knew I was going to be playing a good level of footy the next year. I was quite arrogant, and I thought, fuck it, she'll come back, but I'm going to go to schoolies. And I went to schoolies with this other girl that I'd been cheating on her with. And not once did I ever consider what it must have been like for her. Not once did I ever put my foot in her shoes and goes, I can't believe the guy that I've spent the last couple of years with is treating me like this, has been cheating on me, has been lying, has been a part of our family, and still done this. And then just not even apologize, just fucked off to school. Is like, your problem, your mess. And at the time, I was obviously too young and naive. So if you're at a point where you may have gone through this, or you may be going through this, I didn't intend to hurt her. Deep down, I didn't want to hurt her. It was not like I was doing all those things to hurt someone. I don't think any of us, and when I had this happen to me, I definitely don't believe it was intentional at first. Right? I just know, and this will bring me to sort of point one, that a lot of my basic human needs weren't being met. Right? So you'll see, just scrolling down below, I speak about basic human needs, and we all have them, right? And they're labeled as certainty, variety, significance, love and connection, growth, contribution. And now of those four ones, they're the ones that, a lot of us crave, and we aren't even really aware of it. But if they're not being met, we will find a way to have them met. And like with anything, there's a positive way you can do it, and there's also a negative way you can do it. And unfortunately for me, I was choosing the negative way. I wasn't aware of the positive way. I didn't have a role model in my life to show me this, and I definitely wasn't educated on this. And if you can relate to that, give it a thumbs up. Let me know that it's making sense for you. Right? I wasn't aware. And so when I was thinking about, I wanted certainty, there were times in my relationship where I wasn't getting, number 4, love and connection. So I thought, well, maybe this relationship isn't as strong as I think it is. Maybe I need to look elsewhere. And that's when, I'd start texting other girls, and, they would be into it. And as a result of that, it would allow me to feel certainty in that other partner, other person. See some grade 12. Yep, grade 12 I just got some questions coming through. What do we got here? I used to think that it was fair. They hurt me, I hurt them. 100%. It was always a tit for tat, right? It was, if you hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. And don't worry, I was fucking definitely there. And why I believe I was acting in the way I was acting in subconsciously was because I felt they were hurting me, right? I felt because they weren't meeting my needs, that I needed to get them back, or I needed to go find another way to get it, right? That certainty wasn't there. I wasn't, when I speak about love languages, and it was something that I've only learned about recently, that my love language wasn't being met, and I love touch, right? And that wasn't being met. So I thought, therefore, maybe she doesn't love me. Maybe she's talking to other guys, and that whole insecurity that I was talking about started happening. It started flaring up. And because, when your mind starts doing its thing, it's a fucking uncomfortable place, and you do whatever you can to sort of drown that noise out. And my way of doing that at that point in time was obviously alcohol, drugs, and also just messaging heaps of other girls, because I thought if I was busy on the texts, and if I was busy getting short-term affection, awesome. The moment when you'd have a one-night fling, in the moment you're like, this is the greatest fucking thing ever. This is exactly what I needed. This is exactly what I was wanting. Plus it gave me a variety, made me feel significant. But then the next day I would wake up and go, fuck, I've just fucked up. And I'm not sure if you guys can relate. If you can relate, hit a thumbs up. But it made me start questioning things. And it's interesting, right? We hear, or I hear a lot of blokes still talking about cheating, and it seems to be a common thing. It was definitely a common thing where I grew up. A lot of blokes definitely cheated. It was almost like a cultural thing where all the lads cheated, and it was almost like endeared, right? If you could get away with it, you were one of the top dogs. It's kind of fucking disgusting when you think about it. And I choose to share this with you because I want it to stop, right? I don't want you guys to feel like you need to do it. And I don't think it's right that we treat other people that way. I think everyone deserves honest communication. Everyone deserves honest relationships. And, if you're at a point where your needs aren't met, right, then you're now going to start being aware of that. So you can start really thinking about what your needs are, right, in your relationship, and how you can use them in positive ways, because one person can't fulfill everything. Not a fucking chance. So if one person's not fulfilling everything, how are you going to allow the relationship to thrive, but also get your needs met? How are you not going to fuck up a relationship and get your needs met? And don't always think of the grass is greener. There's always that grass is greener mentality. Someone walks past and you go, wonder what it'd be like to date her. Or if you're going through a rough patch with your partner, you go, fuck that. I'd look over here. That would be so much easier. And we've all heard about the grass is always greener. But the grass is greener where you fucking water it, right? Where you put the effort in. And I speak about, the how you show up, right? Are you showing up as your best self, and are you giving your full self to the relationship? And we all do that at the start of the relationship, right? In the honeymoon phase, everyone's showing up. We're dropping flowers off. We're sending lovely text messages, morning messages. Well, this is me anyway. Doing all kinds of nice things to show that I love and care. And then after a while, you become comfortable and you stop doing those things. Not because, the love disappears, but just because you become comfortable. You're like, nah, she knows. You just assume. And when we're not showing up as our best self, right, it can be interpreted both ways, right? If your partner's not showing up as your best self, that's when you go back to those basic needs and you start questioning things. You're like, is this relationship really what it was? It's not, I'm not getting my needs met like I used to. We're not having the conversations that we used to. It doesn't feel as exciting as it used to. And that doesn't necessarily mean the love is gone. It just means we've become complacent. And when you become complacent in one area of your life, gents, you'll become complacent in many areas of your life. So it's important to lead by example in this, right? If you're, wanting your partner to show up as her best self or his best self, you need to first put your hand up and say, am I showing up as my best self? Because I know even in my current relationship, there's times where I'm fucking lazy. And I'll put my hand up and I own that. I know that I'm being lazy. It's not because I don't love her any less. It's just that, I've become complacent. Sometimes I don't feel like doing things. And that can have a ripple effect into the relationship, because not only, do I start thinking things, it affects the moods both ways. And then I go, maybe they don't love me. Because from the things that I've spoken about, right, so far, talking about your basic human needs, talking about your understanding. If you've been in a position where you've hurt someone you love, it doesn't define you, right? It doesn't define you as a person whatsoever. If you choose to learn from it, fucking awesome. if you choose not to, if you choose to put your head in the sand, which I did for a while, then I allowed myself to continue doing similar things in a previous, the second relationship, then you're a fucking idiot. That's simple as it is. We as individuals have standards that I believe we need to hold ourselves to. And if you've been through an experience where, it's a failed relationship or you've hurt someone, you've then got a great lived experience to learn from. You've got a great way to gain understandings on how not to do this again, how not to hurt someone else, but also how not to hurt yourself, how to make yourself more fulfilled. Because the only reason why you acted in that way was because something was missing. And like I speak about a lot, guys, and you guys have probably seen that when we talk about cause and effect, if you accept responsibility that something's missing because of the way you're acting, you can fix it. Right? You can fix it. And if you want to get a relationship that thrives, you have to come from the point that you're there to, give your whole to make sure that things go well, right? To make sure that they're feeling like their basic needs are being met. And you need to understand what they are through conversation. But I've done it multiple times. I've hurt partners, right? I've hurt family. I've hurt friends, all people that I love, because of my own lack of self-awareness and insecurities. And I don't want other people to experience it, right? I think obviously naturally we are all going to go through that because we know what our thresholds are, but I don't want you guys to experience it. So before we jump off, does anyone else have any questions that they'd like to ask, or any of their own experiences that they'd like to share around hurting someone that you love, that we could have a bit of conversation on around that? Because I think it's all equally relevant. It's all important, but and some of you lads might have been in the opposite position where someone's really hurt you. And just even touching on that in itself, it's not personal, right? Well, sometimes it is, but I don't think it defines who you are as a person. It doesn't allow you to create the limiting belief, which for some people it does, that you are not worthy, right? That you're unlovable, because I know that happens for people, right? They get dumped, and I made this belief once before and may have held on to it for far too long, that I wasn't lovable. And the reality is that's bullshit, right? That's just an experience that may or may not have worked out well for you. Right? So we really, really important that we don't allow these things to define you. All right, we got a question. Let me just bring it back up one moment. So my wife has been playing around and it fucking hurts. I think it's me, but is it? Let me just bring this video back up a bit. And when we talk about this, guys, so my wife has been, just mute that. There's so much that can go into this, right? And here's what I would do in that situation. I always go through a checklist. I don't always, but if I were in that situation, I would go through a checklist. And what that checklist would look like, how I would check in, how have I been showing up? Okay, because here's the thing, and I think this is a really important thing for us as men to understand, right? We have an idea of what we think our partners would like, just as they have an idea of what they think we would like. And because we assume, we don't ever actually get clarification on that, right? And without clarification, are you really meeting the needs? Probably not. We're just doing what we assume we think they want. So a bit of advice there for myself is, for me to really take ownership of that situation, to know full well that I did the best that I could, I would make sure I have those conversations and go, what's missing for you? What do you feel you need? Rather than me just guessing it, what do you feel you need? And I don't think, that second step is if you're doing that and that conversation's been met, then are you showing up as your best self every day? And I don't think, I believe that it's not possible to do so because of life happens, right? We get tired, we get worn out, sometimes we get fucking pissed off, and that's life. But it's also making sure we have the best things in place to make sure that when we're in our family life, we're showing up as best as we can. And, this goes through across all areas of life, right? So I talk about, your intimacy, right? Your physical health, your mental health, your lifestyle, your finances, your friends, family, right? All these areas, like how are you showing up in that? Because is something missing? Because like I said before, if something's missing, we're generally going to go find it elsewhere. And it's not because you're not enough. That's the fucking most important point to stress. I think, when I got cheated on, I took it so personally that I thought I was not good enough. And it wasn't because of that. Right? It was because I wasn't, asking enough questions. I wasn't communicating well to find out what was really missing. So I wasn't good enough as an individual. It was that my questions weren't good enough, but it was also the quality of the relationship hadn't established those ground rules. And, I've not been married, so I can't say I understand what it feels like for you, that pain that you're experiencing. And I've been cheated on and I have cheated on, so I can relate, but obviously not from a wife. But I think for you, and this is my belief, is that everything happens for a reason, right? It's whether it's right now hearing that, had you been checking in all areas of your life, or maybe it may be because it's shifting you towards someone who you're more aligned with, right? There's so many variables, but my where I would really focus on getting my head at this is just me personally, is try to take the positive. And I know people it's so cliche, but everything that happens to us in life happens for a reason. And if you can choose to take the positive from it, you're going to learn so much about yourself. You're going to grow so much as an individual, and you're going to walk or march forward and continue to create what it is that you feel is missing from your life as well. Because I guarantee you, in order for someone to, a partner to be playing around, there's some stuff that feels like it's missing for you as well. So I think, it's equal there, and the things that you feel are missing, you're going to go find. So I do believe, as much as the hurt's there, it's going to guide you and push you to where you want to be and where you need to look. But thanks for sharing that, mate. And I'm looking forward to working together in the breakthrough experience. I know we're going to do some amazing stuff, mate, and you're going to fucking be thriving out of the back of it. Unless there's any other questions, guys, I'm going to wrap up. Is there any other questions there at all, gents? If there are, or if you got value from that, hit the thumbs up buttons just so I know whether I'm going to continue doing these. I'm just kidding. I'll keep doing these. That's pretty good. Awesome. All right, gents. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for investing in it. And I hope you took away some value from this. Until next time, we'll talk facial hair. Mate, I had my clippers set low and I didn't even check before I gave them a quick trim, and put a side stripe through, and it was too short to be able to blend it. See you tomorrow, Az. Looking forward to it, mate. All right, gents. Take care. Speak soon. All right, gents. Thank you for tuning into another incredible episode. If you haven't already, and you want to continue being a part of the community, or to just get more involved in what we're doing at the Man That Can project, make sure you
join the private Facebook group. You can either find the links in the show notes here, or you can head over to the Instagram page at the Man That Can Project or at Lachlan Stuart, and you'll find the link there. Or you can just do the simplest thing and search on Facebook for the Man That Can Project, and just make sure you're selecting the group, not the page. So once again, gents, thank you for your time, and look forward to meeting more of you as you continue to stay a part of the community. You know, you're all such valued members, and you know, just being here, investing time to listen to these episodes is helping you become a better version of yourself, which then creates an incredible ripple effect into your community. So thank you again, gents, and make sure, if you haven't already, hit subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Man That Can Project podcast. My name is Lachlan Stuart, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it helpful. If you did, please take a moment to rate and review the Man That Can Project on your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date with our newest episodes. We'll see you again next time.